deceptively fragile beauty, to be a butterfly.
Butterflies are creatures of freedom and beauty. Their lives a seemingly endless symphony of colour and movement. In reality, butterflies are engaged in a constant battle to survive and to breed, a battle whose outcome is always in doubt. From the moment it starts life as an egg, a butterfly is at risk. Danger is never far from its side as it progresses from succulent caterpillar through helpless pupa to winged adult. Butterflies are lovers of warmth, and it's in countries like Australia with harsh savannas and lush tropical rainforests that they're found in greatest profusion. It's here that their tale can best be told. The tale of how this one group of insects, so delicate and vulnerable, has nonetheless evolved all the qualities needed for spectacular success. The wings of an old butterfly often show signs of wear and tear, and it's no wonder. From start to finish, a butterfly's wings are in constant use. Such active creatures are perpetually in need of refueling, and wings are used in a continual search for nectar-bearing flowers. The butterfly's coiled tongue is really a flexible tube designed to probe deep into flowers for nectar. While visiting flowers, the butterfly picks up pollen grains, which are transported from one flower to the next. But pollen isn't the only burden a butterfly must bear. These mites are not parasites, but harmless passengers. All they want is a ride. Many species of mites travel around in this way, using all sorts of animals for transport. As mites don't have wings, hitchhiking is the answer for long-distance travel. They use the butterfly's tongue as a gangway to board their flight to another flower. When present in large numbers, they must cause some irritation, but there's nothing a butterfly can do about it. Foraging at flowers brings more serious hazards. Predators lie camouflaged among the petals. The crab spider's lunge is quick and deadly. All butterflies feed on nectar, but some seek extra chemicals from a select group of plants. This male tiger is scratching a dead heliotrope leaf. The plant contains substances the butterfly needs for the production of sex pheromones, the perfume he uses during courtship. The butterfly sucks the chemicals from the leaf after dissolving them with saliva. Wings are more than just a means of locomotion. They're used as signals. Their shape and colour patterns may indicate a butterfly's sex and species, or warn a predator that the owner is poisonous or distasteful. Birdwing butterflies of both sexes wear warning colours, and young birds soon learn by bitter experience to leave them alone. Because of this immunity, the big birdwings seem to fly with more confidence than most. Wings can also deceive predators. A butterfly at rest folds them together, hiding the bright colours on top. The Australian leafwing mimics a dead leaf, midrib and all. If deception fails, the sudden appearance of bright colours and two staring eyes might confuse or even frighten off sharp-eyed predators like birds. An alternative strategy is not to avoid attack, but to redirect it. False antennae on the hindwings of the imperial blue deflect attack from the real head at the other end. The Australian plain butterfly goes a step further. Rigid antennae at the wrong end and two false eyes projecting out sideways are enough to baffle any predator searching for a normal butterfly shape. The effect is quite bewildering. Wings can raise a butterfly to heights of specialization. The common Jezebel belongs to a group called the mistletoe butterflies. They're high flyers, laying their eggs on the mistletoe that grows in the eucalypt trees. The newly hatched caterpillars have little competition for food, for there are few other insects that can eat mistletoe. And there's always plenty of it, thanks to a most unlikely ally of the butterflies, the mistletoe bird. Mistletoe birds feed on mistletoe berries, and they have a sensible way of ensuring future supplies. Instead of defecating on the ground below, the bird voids all its wastes against a branch. The bird eats all kinds of things besides mistletoe berries, and most of what it eats is digested in the usual way. But mistletoe seeds are indigestible and come out unchanged. And because they have a glutinous outer coat, they stick to the branch where the bird so accurately put them. There they germinate and grow as parasites, sending their roots into the tissues of the tree to steal its sap. The mistletoe feeds the bird. The bird disperses the mistletoe seeds. The seeds germinate and live as parasites in eucalypts. And the eucalypts, if healthy, can tolerate the mistletoe, which survives its annual cropping by the caterpillars, and thanks to the bird, each new generation of butterflies has an assured food supply. The wings of mistletoe butterflies are unusual in being brighter underneath, a warning to predators that the butterflies are distasteful. For a female butterfly, there's one last vitally important job for her wings to do, one last journey to take. She must find the right food plant for her offspring and lay her eggs on it. To lay eggs that hatch into caterpillars that thrive and turn into more butterflies is her ultimate purpose in life. But if she were to lay eggs on the wrong plant, her caterpillars would starve. So a butterfly is a skilled botanist and makes few mistakes. She can single out the right plant among many, making sure it's the right age and healthy. This imperial blue is using taste sensors on her feet to check out an acacia tree. The tip of her abdomen, rubbed against the bark, may be picking up further chemical clues concerning the age and condition of the plant. Surprisingly, She doesn't mind the ants running about the tree, but she does need to know what species they are. We'll see why later. Satisfied, the butterfly lays her cluster of eggs in the favoured place, a notch at the base of a branch. Butterfly eggs come in many forms, but the reason for their intricate patterns is not known. Most are laid one to a leaf, usually spread over several plants. Some are placed in clusters, in the hope that a predator can't demolish them all. But eggs laid on a leaf can also be eaten by other caterpillars. To prevent this, the cruiser lays her eggs on part of the food plant that caterpillars don't eat, in this case a dead tendril. As a defense against predators, the eggs change color to match their background. The rustic butterfly puts her eggs in spider webs. The spider won't touch them, and neither will common predators like ants or lacewings. The monarch, known in Australia as the wanderer, lays her eggs on plants of the milkweed family. Both are immigrants to Australia, the butterfly from America and the plants from South Africa. The milkweed is poisonous to most herbivores, but not to the wanderer caterpillars, which themselves become poisonous by eating the plant. Similarly, the birdwings feed exclusively on Aristolochia vines of the rainforest understory, vines whose leaves also contain deadly poisons. This female birdwing is investigating one of the vines as a food source for her caterpillars, but even if the vine is suitable, she won't lay her eggs on it. If she made the mistake of doing so, the eggs would fail to hatch, for the vine contains a chemical that is poisonous to eggs. Often such an egg is attacked by fungus. And in any case, leaves being sparse on the vine, an older caterpillar could quite easily eat an egg by mistake. So the butterfly lays her eggs nearby on another plant. It's always next to the vine, perhaps the very plant that supports it. But the solitary caterpillar hatches on a leaf it can't eat. Other caterpillars, like these lacewings, have their food on hand immediately. And while the birdwing is alone and defenseless, for the lacewings there's some safety in numbers. Sustained only by a meal of eggshell, the hatchling birdwing must make the long journey from nursery leaf to food plant, a journey many caterpillars fail to survive. This one has come safely through its teething troubles. Now it's giving full priority to the conversion of leaf into caterpillar, the next crucial stage in every butterfly's life cycle. Caterpillars are leaf-eating machines. In their race to become butterflies, with the odds against them, they seem goaded almost to gluttony. A young caterpillar can increase its weight thousands of times in a matter of weeks. But a caterpillar's skin can stretch only so far. Something has to give. Every caterpillar must molt several times during its life in order to grow. But molting isn't just a matter of casting off a skin that's become too tight. Nor is it as simple as a bird replacing last season's feathers. When the skin comes off, some of the inner tubing comes with it, the lining of throat and hindgut, and the breathing tubes along the sides. The skin is discarded, like a heap of old clothes. Underneath, there's a brand new one, the next size up. Molting is usually a solitary activity, but the communal caterpillars of the orange lacewing molt in synchrony. Discarded skins are usually eaten. Why waste good protein? As soon as their new jaws have hardened, the caterpillars renew their attack upon the plant. But life for a caterpillar is far from being one long dinner party. Death stalks in many guises. Caterpillar spines and poisons are no defense against the assassin bug, which injects poisons of its own before sucking its victim dry. Birds seek out the more palatable caterpillars, taking those that are less well camouflaged, while bushes abound with smaller predators that are no less deadly. Paper wasps have stung this caterpillar to death. One is cutting off easy-to-manage stakes to take home to the nest. They'll be fed to the wasp's larvae in the nursery cells. With so many enemies, a caterpillar's next preoccupation after eating is to keep out of trouble. One way to do this is to stay in the house and feed on it, like the caterpillar of the Apollo jewel. In paperbark swamps of northern Australia live the strangely shaped ant house plants. Perched high in the trees, they have no contact with the ground at all. The bulbous tuber, or stem, is riddled with natural tunnels and chambers. It's in these cavities that the Apollo caterpillar lives, feeding on the flesh of the tuber. There's seldom more than one in residence, so there's little harm done. The Apollo shares its home with a colony of small ants that give the plant its name. Plant grows some of its roots inside the cavities where they obtain nourishment from the caterpillar's droppings, so there are benefits both ways. Many caterpillars contain distasteful or even poisonous substances, but they rarely manufacture these themselves. Instead, the caterpillars feed on poisonous plants, turning the plant's defenses to their own advantage. The plant's poisons not only protect the caterpillars, but also the butterflies they turn into. A final refinement is the evolution of bright colors as a warning to predators. Caterpillars that display together stay together. By feeding together all their lives, these lacewing caterpillars enhance the effect of their warning colours. The lacewing's spiky coats are an additional line of defence. Most caterpillars without special protection simply rely on being overlooked. It helps to match both colours and textures of the food plant. The caterpillar of the common aeroplane always rests at the tip of the leaf it's eating, where it's camouflaged to look like the damaged midrib. It might appear to be uncomfortable in a rainstorm, but that's a small price to pay for protection. Here's the caterpillar of the butterfly that lays her eggs on spider webs. Between meals, it dangles on a safety line. Not spider web, but its own silk thread, where it's safe from foraging ants. Birds recognize their prey as visual patterns. Any departure from normal, such as peculiar headgear, can tip the balance in favor of the caterpillar. At one stage of its life, the orchard swallowtail would pass as a bird dropping. An effective strategy so long as the caterpillar stays perfectly still. Once their disguise is penetrated, caterpillars of the swallowtail family take positive action. The forked organ, or osmeterium, that they shoot out has a pungent smell, and it's usually brightly coloured. The sudden movement and flash of colour might startle a sighted predator like a bird. The smell probably deters those insect predators that hunt by scent. But neither bright colours nor pungent scents, either camouflage nor mimicry, can prevail against the smallest, deadliest, and most insidious enemies of all, the parasitic wasps and flies. The tachinid fly extends its egg-laying tube forward under its body and lays an egg. A sequence of events has started that spells doom for this wanderer. Instead of killing like ordinary predators, parasitic wasps and flies inflict on their victims a lingering and what seems to us a horrifying death by attrition. The shell of a caterpillar eaten out from inside, its flesh made over into wasp grubs. The adult wasps are predators by proxy. The prey is not for them, but for their offspring. The wasps are too small to carry caterpillars to the nursery nest, as larger wasps might do. Instead, they turn the caterpillar itself into a nursery by laying their eggs inside it. The eggs hatch into grubs, which devour the living caterpillar from the inside. The caterpillar dies only when the fully fed grubs are ready to come out and pupate on the remains of their victim. If a caterpillar survives the perils of predation and parasitism, it must face the demands of pupation. Its days as an eating machine are over. Its last set of jaws cast off with its skin. But it does not cast off its enemies. This wanderer is dotted with the eggs of parasitic flies. By the time it has pupated, the fly's maggots will have eaten their way inside. The pupa may look healthy, but the dark spots are a sure sign that it's being consumed from within. Whatever the species, the results of parasitism are the same. Instead of an elegant blue butterfly, a fat fly maggot struggles from the corpse of this Ulysses pupa. The maggot has developed inside the body of the caterpillar that gave rise to this pupa, and now that it's fully grown, it must reach the soil to pupate. Weeks later, it will reappear as an adult fly and repeat the cycle. These parasitic wasps emerge as full adults and mate there and then, before flying off to find more victims. Although one life